welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. We are going to be talking about 2024 changes in the IG marketing world for tattooers. There's a lot of changing happening in the marketing world. Now, as all of you know, as tattooers, you are understanding now. I feel like if I was talking to someone in 2020, especially tattoo artists in 2020, they're going to be like, marketing, what does it even mean? We've never been taught how to market. So marketing essentially is just how we share and showcase and essentially sell our brand, our artwork to the masses in the online space, how we do that. And there are a lot of strategies out there. There's a lot of tactics out there. And what is happening is that perhaps we need to start looking at things in a different way this year. Or maybe if you have been looking at things, if you've been following me for a very long time and you know how I see the marketing world and how I see social media marketing, this is really going to help you even shift further into really becoming that entrepreneur and not just the tattoo artist. I think that, of course, there's a lot of content out there, and I've been seeing actually a lot of mentors out there that talk about IG and especially in the tattoo world now, like tattoo marketing and things like this, where they're like, I hate being an admin and I hate social media marketing and I hate. And I'm just like, that totally resonates with a lot of people, and I get that. But goodness gracious, what does the word hate do to your body when you have that in your body? It's so disempowering and it's so victim mentality that when I see that, when that's like that pain point marketing that people are utilizing, I'm like, this is not how we do this. That's not the way that I want to see this industry go when it comes to marketing. Now, I just do marketing differently. I am all about empowerment marketing. I want you to feel good. It's not about making you feel bad so that you do something about it. Yes, there's pain to solution marketing, and that's where it's when it comes to from how does that look in a tattoo lens? As a tattoo artist, pain, it's don't be a little bitch, get a tattoo. It's oh God, I'm going to be a bitch if I'm not getting that tattoo. You know what I mean? And it's I know that's funny, but that's really just pushing on people's you're trying to almost make people do something. It's I want to make someone do something, instead of with empowerment marketing, it actually moves people much faster into your chair, into your inbox, into wherever it is that you want to funnel them into. Now, 2024 changes in the IG marketing world. Before we get into that, I want everybody just to take a moment to fucking celebrate. What are we celebrating? Sundays are for me, I'm filming this on a Sunday. It's a beautiful day. And I'm man, I really, really, really want to touch point on the celebration of things. What are you celebrating? For me, I'm celebrating so much. It's 14 days into January. I can't believe it's already 14 days into January. But also, it's already 14 days into January. And it's only 14 days into January. There's so many perspectives that we can look at that from. Yes, it's gone by fast, but so much has happened in the last 14 days, I can't even tell you. I'm celebrating the fact that me and my man found a place to live. We are now moving in together after 2 years of being together. And that's so exciting, a brand new adventure for the both of us, and we're so excited about it. And we found a place that is absolutely the most incredible space that we couldn't even have dreamed of it. We put it out there. And this is what I love about being a master manifester. I will claim that for myself. It's so funny. I don't know if any of you guys have read A Court of Thorns and Roses, or the series of A Court of Thorns and Roses, but if you do, you know what I'm talking about when I say hi, Faye. If you haven't read that smut book, read it. It's one of the only fiction books that I've read in my 30s, because I just don't normally read fiction. I'm a big old slut for marketing and a slut for mastering your self-mastery, and a super little hoe bag for mental health and spirituality. I am just I'm a dirty girl when you're talking to me about personal development. But it just so happens that when my assistant was you should listen to A Court of Thorns and Roses, or not listen to read. And I started reading this book. And so, of course, it's when you think of high fae, it's badass magical fucking fairies that are so cool. They got cool magical powers and all these things. So I ended up, manifesting this place. And I think the reason why I am really good at manifesting is because, especially in things where I'm in most things, and I also know when I'm being too pushy about my manifestation skills, like when I'm trying to force a manifestation to happen or when I'm trying to force an outcome to happen, that's normally when I don't get what I want. It's because I am not just surrendering to the universe and trusting that things are going to come my way. So the moment I begin to trust is like, that's basically what we did. We were like, we trust we're going to find the space that we want to live in. We have no timeline. It's not like we have to have like a super mad timeline. We do want it in the first 6 months of like 2024, but if that doesn't happen, we're open to other things. We just want to make sure that it's perfect. We're more looking for perfection in the space over just hurrying up and trying to move in together, because since we're soulmates, it's one of those things where we've got our lifetime. Let's find somewhere that we really, really want to live, that feels good for both of us, that we could create a home together, and that we're not rushing into just any old place just because we want to live together super bad. It's like, no, like, let's flirt with the unknown. Let's flirt with not living together for a little while longer. And then when we do, we're going to get there. It's like, why are we trying to rush everything? And don't get me wrong, I am the master of rushing. Like, I want everything to happen now. But when I can just surrender and let go, things just happen like that. So when this happened, when we decided we were moving in together, this was like at the end of November. And I was like, listen, I don't even want to start looking until January. I don't even want to look because I'm, last year, especially the last half of the year, I felt really overwhelmed. I was so busy. I was doing so much stuff in the space, in the marketing, and dropping new programs like Scale, and dropping new programs and memberships like the Arc, and, just getting ready for the new year. I was like, nope, opening shops and stuff. I was telling myself, no, I'm not going to do this. We'll wait till next year. So it just so happened that we tell my parents, they're super excited. And my mom starts sending, how moms are. They just start sending you like things. They're just like, oh, here, let me send you this new thing. Let me send you this new thing. Listings of houses. And so she sent me like 4 that night. And so I just clicked on one and I was like, nah, okay. And then all of a sudden I just started going into like the deep dive scroll of just looking at real estate and kind of getting myself all hyped up. And I saw this place and I sent it to Andy and I was like, I think this might be the one. And he looked at it and he goes, yup. And so we booked literally that Saturday. It was the 24th of December. So it was, Christmas Eve. Or no, it was like 2 days before Christmas. So I think it was the 23rd. And we were the first ones to see it. It was spacious enough to the point where we were like, oh, they're not even trying to get anybody moved in till February 15th. And apparently that was such a big deterrent to most people. So nobody had wanted to come see this place because everybody's trying to move in faster. And we were like, no, we have space. Like, we're on month to month. We can move in whenever. And so it ended up just us being the first people there. We met the owners. It's a standalone home. Ocean view, got a balcony, we've got 2 bedrooms, we've, it is, and it's all modernized, like they redid the entire house. It's just beautiful. So much space, not only as far as like square footage, so much space as far as like when we get to move in. It's not like a rush because we're so busy, and so much space, and just like, wow, we given this ask, this desire, so much space to be felt, that the universe was like, you're ready, we're gonna give it to you now. So it was like 10 to 15 days prior to the time when we were gonna start looking, and then we already found the place and we're moving in February. So that's number 1. Number 2, I was talking to one of my sponsors, FYT, which is needle sponsors, which I absolutely love. You haven't tried their needles, absolutely try them. And they were like, hey, do you mind shooting us some promo for the needles? We really, really love all of, your content. And, if we're going to, and they wanted to utilize it as an ad. And I was like, I felt so honored because, obviously when you do paid ads, it's like, it goes out there a lot. So that's great for me. It's great for them. And so I was like, hell yeah, like, absolutely. Let me shoot a few things for you. We'll edit it and we'll do all the things. And so I just decided, I was like, you know what, let's just go across the board and just do like a fat thank you to each one of the sponsors that I have. So we created content. We spent a day, I literally like went to the shop, just spent a day doing fun content pieces for my sponsors. And even for some people that aren't my sponsors, but that I absolutely love and I know personally, and I know that they would love it. And of course it's like, hey, just see how far I will go for you, and just so I can get sponsored by you. So I was like, it was such like that's actually a big way I've gotten all my sponsors, and we'll have that conversation on a later date. But so it's like marketing 101, what you give is what you get. And so I was like, let me just give, let me give, let me give, let me give. And there was one company that I was like, man, I can't believe I have not been sponsored by this company yet. And we'd been together as like a friends and families deal. So they'd always given me like really great discounts on everything, and just love them. I promote them. I love them. And I just love the whole like identity behind the brand, which we're going to get into today and why this is so important. But all of a sudden I was just like, how great would it be if I, like I was talking to Kayla, I was like, oh man, how great would it be if we I'm so, like at first I said, I'm so surprised we haven't been sponsored by them yet. And the next thing I was like, how great would it be to get sponsored by them? And I just like kind of threw that out in the universe. And literally 3 days later, I get a text message from the owner of Second Skin, and this is aftercare like sheets and like the bandages and everything like that. And they were like, hey Reese, we just want to make you pro team. I was like, what the fuck? Really? Love what you're doing. We would love to like work with you and promote with you and da-da-da-da. Let's hop on a call and do those things. So now it's like, I didn't even post anything, and now all of a sudden they're like, let's work together. We love what you're doing, especially in your courses, and we would love to get more people to try out the product. And if and it's like, it's a beautiful situation. And this is why wow. Okay, before I get into this is why I'm vibes, but this is like the master manifesting. So that's happening. I also, my coach, of course, who is a fucking gangster, my mentor, Shoshana Raven, who I've been mentored by in 2022 and 2023. And then I kind of split ways to go do my own thing. And then coming back here in 2024 for a full year of mentorship, and just dropped $75,000 on mentorship because I love close-knit exclusivity type mentorship. Like, I could have gone in a different mentorship and just gotten something maybe a little bit cheaper. However, I'm like, but I'm the kind of girl that doesn't like to wait to get on the plane. So if I like exclusivity like that and I want someone actually in my back pocket, I know I'll pay for it. And I already know that like by me spending that money gives me that vibes of like last week's podcast episode of prosperity consciousness. It's because I'm circulating money and I know how to circulate that money. And what's a big thing too is that I think about how many days left I have on this planet. Like if on average, we're all living to 75, right? Then that means that I really only have like, I forget how many days that is. I think they said something around like 1,500 days or something around that. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't sound like a lot of days left. It's like, it's a crazy amount when you put it into perspective. If you, on average, you were lived to 50, to 75, and you really only have like 15,000. I don't even think it's 15,000. I think it's like something small and ridiculous where you're like, oh my gosh, I just put my mortality as a priority, as a thing in front of me, where we all kind of just we think that we have like we're never going to die. Like, we see death all around us. We see animals dying. We see people dying. We have family, friends, things like this dying, but we don't actually put it in our forefront of our mind because we're so fearful of our immortality. Like, our mortality, that we're like, no, I don't want to think about it. And I'm like, in my mind, the fact that this perspective just comes up sometimes, I'm like, why the fuck am I going to try and hoard money when I know that by spending it, I am not only circulating wealth consciousness, prosperity consciousness into the world, because I'm the embodiment of wealth. Like, wealth is an energy. It's not a paper currency. The currency is just a piece of paper that has so much energy around it because that's what we utilize to, up level our lives and do great things for ourselves and for the people around us and for the world. Like, money in the hands of good people do good things. And so it's like, that's what my thought is. And so, of course, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go do it. And it's so funny because the first thing that came up for me was, man, am I about to spend $75,000 on 1 year long coaching experience or mentoring experience? It's a little over a year, but like mentoring experience just to be this tight knit. Like, what else could I do with that money? And I was like, so many other things, but this is the thing that lights me up. And it's funny because the thing that scared me the most wasn't spending the money. It was actually, what would people think? They're like, this bitch is crazy. And I was so like, I felt that come up in my body. And this is where we get into shadow work. This is where we get into the somatic healing work. This is where we get into the meditative work. Like, this is where we get into the mental and spiritual healing. You know, that trauma that comes up of like, people will think I'm crazy, people will judge me. That's actual physical trauma in the body, because that has happened to me on several occasions where people are like, you're fucking crazy to do this. You're fucking crazy to do that. Even being banned from the home because family members, and I, love them. They're just doing what they know, where they're like, I can't talk to you because you're ruining your life, thinking that just because I left corporate to become a tattoo artist was ruining my life. And so they're like, I don't want to talk to you. And they believe that in that way, they're helping. So what happens is that creates actual trauma within my physical body, not just in my mind, but in my physical body. So what do? I'm like, okay, let me wrap myself around this and love on this part of me that's really, really scared. Well, what if it doesn't work? What if this or what if that? And I'm like, I'm the only one that can say that it didn't work or not. I am the only one that can make sure that it works. I'm the only one. My mentor can't do that for me. She can give me everything she's got. And if I don't fucking take the action, if I don't believe that I can do it, it's not going to happen. That's not what mentorship's about. I'm not here to baby or mother you. I'm here to empower you to become a leader. I'm not your savior. You're your goddamn savior. So that's why I love the people in my spaces, because that's the energy that I exude, and that's the energy I call in. I'm not over here taking disempowered people into my spaces thinking that they think that I'm going to come over here and save their asses. I'm like, no, I'm going to give you exactly what I would do. I'm going to give you mentorship on how I would do it. Also, coach you through how you can coach yourself through it. These are the practical tools. And then you go out there and you go fucking fly. You take what I've done and change it around and make it yours. And fucking do it yourself and do it on your own and do it better than me. And that's the whole point of mentorship. It's just to fucking make you rise. It makes you feel empowered. It makes you move. So those are the things that I am celebrating. I'm also celebrating $15,000 in passive income that's just coming through. Like, fuck yeah, just bing, 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 just in my account, 15 grand. I was like, what? That's awesome. So loving that, you know what I mean? So this is how we circulate. This is prosperity consciousness. And by celebrating this, what you are doing is giving yourself the dopamine hit that you so desire every time you open up your fucking social media. If I want a dopamine hit that social media gives me, why don't I just celebrate all of my motherfucking wins and evidence that things are working? Because when I go on social media, yes, I get some dopamine hit, but I also get the hits of comparison, imposter syndrome, I'm not doing enough, stress, overwhelm, high beta brainwaves, survival mode, survival tactics, go, 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 do, frantic, overworked type of vibes that we all have. Because in this modern world, that's just what happens. This modern world has taught us to go, 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 and that's the way things need to be done. And so it's like, how about instead, I'm going to get my own dopamine hit. I'm going to get high off my own supply, give myself my own dopamine hit on all the celebrations of what's going on, and really be like, okay, utilize that feeling of celebration, turn it into momentum to go and do the things that are in alignment and in truth to who I am and to who I desire to be. And from there, we move on to the 2024 changes in IG marketing for tattooers, because this leads directly into the first part of this, which is we are all moving further and further and further away of just sharing tattoos. Now, as a tattoo artist, you have to understand that, yes, we want to make sure that your page looks branded with tattoos. That's what you're doing. That's the service you offer. We want people to know what you offer. Absolutely. So yes, should you have more tattoos than just regular, regular face tattoos or information or education or whatever it might be that you're doing? You're the brand. You are the tattoo artist, but you are also a big brand. You're a movement. That's what you're creating. Okay. We do want the brand and the movement to be surrounded about the medicine, which is the tattooing that you provide to your clients. We want to know that, yes, you can tattoo. We want to know that you are credible in this, that we trust you as the expert in the tattoo style that you love to do. That's first and foremost. I feel like I shouldn't even have to say that, but sometimes I have to repeat myself because I understand that people will take these things out of context and it's like, well, I'm, how just another content creator, blah, 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 nonsense. But I know that I'm speaking to all of the higher wisdom selves within you. And I know that you feel me in the way that it's meant to be felt. This isn't, if you're listening to this podcast, it means that you resonate. There is resonance in what I say and what I do. And that's building a movement. If your page doesn't automatically resonate with the ideal client that you're calling in, then you are not creating that safe haven effect in your page. You're not creating the movement. You're just another tattoo artist, which nothing wrong with, but I want you to start to elevate yourself and your brand. Especially since this industry is becoming there's so many more people coming into this industry and it's ever growing. It's like being able to stand out, creating a movement, creating a brand, you position yourself to being unforgettable. Oh my God, you guys, I am so fucking excited to bring back Booked Out, but this time it is Booked Out 2.0. We're making this a step-by-step program where we're going over everything you will need to do in preparation to launching your books, being opened, and getting booked out. I am telling you, this launch strategy that I use every single time to make $20,000, $15,000, $12,000 every time I open my books, cash in the bank in deposits within 24 hours to 3 days to 5 days. I mean, we've had other students book out $20,000 deposit days where they've booked out 4 to 5 to 6 months in advance. This is my tried and true method. We're not going to want to miss this. This is a whole new Booked Out. Now, if you've been in Booked Out before, this is even better. We are diving in so much deeper. I have revamped it to where you are understanding how to launch, how to create Die Hard community, really activating storytelling to move people to action. You are not going to want to miss this. Right now, we are having a sweet, sweet motherfucking deal. Click in the show notes. Get your ass in the room. I can't wait to see you. And this is called positioning. Okay? You are positioning yourself to being unforgettable, standing out in an ever-growing industry, and becoming the most attractive option to your ideal client. That is what positioning is. If you don't understand what your position is in the online space, nobody will either. And people will see your artwork and be like, cool, that's cool, or it's okay. But there's so many really cool, okay tattoos out there. Doesn't mean I'm going to go get tattooed by you. I follow a ton of tattoo artists who inspire me, who do amazing work. I still won't go and fly to go get tattooed by them. There is only maybe 3 people that I would. And it's because I know them. It's because I know them that I would fly all the way to Estonia. I would fly all the way to Spain. I would drive all the way up to Dana Point, which isn't that far. It's like 30 minutes. To go continuously get tattooed by these certain people. For me, that feels really expansive. That feels really expansive because when I know someone, then of course I'm going to invest my time, energy, money, and attention into, really being around this person, like really just being in their presence, right? Because presence and positioning is huge. So are you a brand? You can ask yourself this. Are you a brand your community wants to identify with? Are you a tattoo brand that your community wants to identify with? That's a really, really good question because you got to think about it this way. Like when a brand is now the way that people buy, the way that people, purchase things, they want to be known as they want to be identified with the brand. It's like when people get Louis Vuitton. You go into a Louis Vuitton store, you're treated like royalty. They're not pushy. They're excited to see you. They don't care if you leave. They're like offering you coffee and all these things. And you wear Louis Vuitton, you're like, I'm like, oh, wow. That's elite. That's high status. Like, they want that status. They want to identify with a certain high status. It's the same thing with cars. It's the same thing as going into, oh my gosh, Patagonia. Like, if people are wearing a lot of Patagonia, there is an identifier to that Patagonia brand. You're like, okay, this person's a camper. This person likes outdoors. They're probably a little bit of a hippie. They like outdoor activities. They're probably a rock climber. They have this vibe. You know what I mean? Like, people get Patagonia type stuff for that reason. Same thing for, we're talking about like, what is it? Roxy. It's like bathing suits from Roxy. It's like, oh, she's a surfer girl. They have a Roxy sticker on. It's like, we're thinking about the girly surfer girl. She's probably really tan, got long, luscious, sun-kissed hair. And, it's just like, there is an identifier in all of these brands, and you recognize them because you want to be a part of them. You think of Apple. It's like elite, sleek, modern. I want to be identified a part of this brand. If I see a Dell computer, I'm not trying to be a part of a Dell. Like, that's not my vibe. I'm not a Dell kind of gal. Like, when I think of Apple, Apple's like creativity, even though probably like, the Windows or whatever things that are out there, they have like better functionality for the creative. But when we think of Apple, we think of creativity. We think of modern. We think of sleek. We think of exclusive. We have this feeling around it. So that's the same thing you ask yourself. Are you bringing a feeling? Do people want to identify with your brand? If I wear your tattoos, I want to identify with that. I wear Matt Tish tattoos. Like, I have neo-traditional going all down my leg, all the way up my back, up my ass, all the things. Like, he's just finishing all the spots that are just not touched. And I love it. And do I want to identify with that? Yes, because it looks really, really good on my skin. Because bold, black like lines with like muted colors, they stand out so beautiful on my skin because I'm a little bit darker. Yeah, I'm Filipina. I have a little bit of a tan toned skin. So it's like, I want stuff that's going to stand out off of my skin. Do people want to identify with your tattoos? Do they want to identify with your brand? Okay, do they want to identify with you? So people come and get to, I'm not like the best realistic tattooer in the whole world, but I do a lot of women empowerment type of tattoos because I happen to be a huge proponent of an empowering, like, I'm an empowerment type of person. I want to empower the fuck out of people. I want to empower you to be authentically expressed and authentically you. People come to me and get tattoos by me because of that fucking reason. Some people don't even care what they're getting tattooed. They're like, cool, do a tiny little heart. I just want to be in your energy. So that's number 2, empowering content. That's the difference that's going to be changing in 2024. My goodness, I'm so tired of seeing pain point marketing. And I don't mean pain point marketing in the actual marketing sense where it's like, here, let me give you all the pains and let me push on your wounds to make you feel bad about getting tattooed. It's like, or like pain point marketing, you're a bitch if you don't get tattooed, come get tattooed today, or something like that. Or it's like, it's the kind of marketing where it's like pain marketing. It's like overshare marketing. So I've noticed in the name of vulnerability, people just want to overshare shit. Everybody's just trying to overshare. It's too much oversharing. It's like how hard things are right now, how it sucks to not get good engagement online. And the funny thing is that's not empowering to the client. You want to talk about that stupid shit? That's empowering. That's not even empowering to the other tattoo artists and your friends. You're not talking to your ideal client when you're complaining about how things aren't working in your business. Actually, all you're saying is that I don't want to be identified with someone that just doesn't look at the positive or doesn't see the win or doesn't know how to embody a clear way of overcoming something. Yes, I am very vulnerable. I talk a lot about things in my life that I have not been very proud of. Now, I own that shit like the back of my hand. Why? Because it's like, it made me me. I love those parts of me. But anytime I'm even in the middle of a crunchy part in my life where I'm like, man, I'm feeling really overwhelmed and overworked, I want to share that in the online space because I know that my ideal client feels that way too. But here's how I overcome this. Here's how I'm walking myself through this. That's empowerment content. That's empowerment marketing. I want to see from my tattoo artists, not how things aren't working, because all you're doing is commiserating with all the other artists that believe you too. oh, I hate admin, and oh, I hate social media, and I hate how I get low engagement, and I hate how I'm losing followers. It's like, that's why I play on that shit so much. Like, just recently I posted something on like losing followers. Here's what to do. Stop complaining. Like, it's essentially what I was saying in a really, really sweet way, and how you can look at it from, instead of a victim mentality, you're looking at it from an empowered, from the victor mentality, from the hero mentality. It's like, no, I'm not going to let a fucking robot, I'm not going to let a fucking app, an application, a code beat me in life. Like, I just refuse. I refuse. I don't have that many days left of living. I mean, I'm Filipina, so I'm going to live past 75 for sure. But the average human only lives to 75. I'm going to live to like 105, so I got a lot more years to go. But the thing is like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't have a long time to live. I'm not going to waste time. And when I do waste the time, and I do that, how can I empower and be empowering if I let this get to me? Of course, the likes, of course, engagement gets to me. Of course, sometimes I let the algorithm kind of win in a few minutes of my life where I'm like, fuck, this was such a good piece of content. Like, I'm surprised that this didn't work as well, quote unquote. And it's like, okay, well, how can I look at this better? That's empowerment. That's the embodiment of empowerment. I want to be the embodiment of empowerment in my brand. If I'm the embodiment of the empowerment, people just see that verbally and non-verbally. I don't even have to say it. People just see it. They feel it. They want it. They want to identify with it. They're like, man, I've never thought of it that way. I want to look at things like that now. This means your stories are important. So empowering content means more stories. I don't want to just hear the fun facts of why, you know, a tree has this thing and blah, 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 blah. Like, when you tattoo a skull on someone and you give me a fun fact about a skull, like, that's great, but it's Googleable. If it's Googleable, it's not positioning. It's not an actual value. It's not a belief you have. It means nothing. It's on Google. Who cares about Google? If I can Google it, it doesn't resonate. Now, what does resonate, if someone's talking about a skull tattoo and they're just like, yeah, the reason why my client really wanted to emulate the death, you know, death as being something beautiful, because it's a death to themselves, to a death and a death to the old version of themselves so that they can be reborn into the new version of themselves. And that's the reason why they got this tattoo. That's a fucking powerful story. That's a empowering story, not only for the people that are reading it, who are your clients, not tattoo artists. Please remember that. Forget about other tattooers. Stop commiserating with other tattooers. Those are not your clients. You see that on Inked. Inked is not a tattoo artist. They are tattoo content. It's like, oh, we want their ideal client are tattooers. You know, and the tattoo art and the tattoo collector. It's both. Same with my content. My content is for both. It's actually more for tattooers now because I'm stepping more into the mentorship and coaching. If my tattoo collectors want more tattoos, they go and follow my tattoo page. They go and follow my shop page. I post some tattoos on my page, but for the empowerment piece of things. It's like, here, let me walk you in a day in a life of a really hardworking, successful tattoo artist. That's what I'm empowering people. I want people to see that it is possible for them. And if they don't feel that vibe, they feel like I'm bragging, you're not my people. But at the same time, by being an identifier, that by positioning myself in a way that shows people where I stand, that means that gives you a really clear yes or no. Yes, she's my person. No, she's not my person. I want that. I don't want generalized shit. I don't want people to like me. I want people to either love me or hate me. And that's actually positioning yourself in a really beautiful way, because when people love you, they come and get tattooed by you. When people just like you, they're like, well, I like a lot of artists. I follow a lot of artists that I like. Does not mean I would get tattooed by even 75% of the artists that I follow. And that goes for the tattoo collector. So remember that. If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. And there's nothing stopping me from just scrolling right over your tattoo, even if it's good. And I even pressed a like on it. Yeah, this is a great tattoo. Good job. I didn't even comment. I'm just like, oh, I like it. Good for you. A lot of times when I like things, I'm like, I'm liking them so I can help the person out for their engagement. Because like, I know how that is. I'm like, man, this is my homie. They're doing a great, amazing job. And especially if like you're in the ARC, I follow every artist in the ARC. I follow every artist in all of my containers. And I'm like watching. Like, you're the people I want to watch because I have a connection with you. I'm like, yes, look at how much, fucking look at this. Oh my God, this is amazing. You know, like, that's a vibe. That's the kind of community I want to be a part of. It's like, I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about your success. Yes, of course, I'm going to engage with your piece, not only because, you know, I love you, but because I know it's going to help your business. You guys, I cannot describe how happy I am to share with you Activate. Activate is my free tattoo online summit where I am going to be inviting 12 to 15 different artists, mentors, coaches, educators in this industry to come give you a free masterclass 3 days in a row at the end of March. If you want in on this, click in the show notes. It's free. It's fucking free. We're talking about some of the best people in the industry teaching you what they know. From business to techniques to spirituality and mental health. This is what we're doing. I'm so excited to give back to this community. Invite your friends. Tell everybody about it. See you in there. Because that's how much I resonate with you. That's how much it resonates with me. You've created resonance. There's a vibration, energy. Okay? Number 3, education. Educational content. And I don't just mean with the regards to the tattoo work. You don't need to tell me how you wrap your machine or blah, 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 blah. Education in the terms of tattooing, in the terms of tattoo artist, in the tattoo artist marketing realm. As a tattoo artist, I'm a tattoo artist marketing my tattoos and, you know, trying to convert more community into soulmate clients, trying to transform them into a soulmate client. It does not mean that I'm going to show you how I do XYZ as regards to like the Procreate. That does not mean that. It doesn't mean I need to know how you wrap your machine. I don't need to know that. Okay, this means educating your community on what an experience with you is all about. Again, your values, your beliefs. Take me on a walk in the park, a walk in the day in the life with you. Okay? This means being polarizing. Polarizing means you have a strong opinion why you like or dislike something. That's what being polarizing is all about. Polarity. We've heard that, right? The polarity. Right? The two things that are opposite to each other. It's like polarity. I likes and dislikes. Pros and cons. We have all these differentiating dual factors between each other. Love, hate. La 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 la. It's like that by you sharing that value, by you sharing your values and your beliefs is being polarizing. That's positioning yourself to being an identifiable brand. You have a strong opinion about why you dislike something that maybe, like, let's say for some reason you're like your clients. Your clients have gone through situations or experiences where their artist made them feel stupid. You don't fucking like that. I sure as fuck don't fucking like that. I'm gonna say something about it. I'm like, hey, you know what I don't like? I don't like hearing when my client tells me that they've had the worst experience with one of the best artists I've ever, met. And that's why in my space, you will feel safe. Always. You will feel safe to say no. You will feel safe to want to change your shit. You will feel safe to say, hey, I need a break. You will feel safe for all these things. And I will create a piece of content in a very creative way on how to share that value with you. How to share what an experience with me would be like. That's education. Education doesn't only mean how I do things on Procreate tips for tattoo artists, because the tattoo artist is not your demographic. the tattoo collector is. We have to remember that. We are not creating content for our homies. We're creating content for our soulmate clients. Okay, so these particularly, so you have the education content, empowerment content, brand and positioning content. And every single one has something to do with your values, with your beliefs, with your opinions about the industry, with your opinions about life. It's becoming an identifiable brand. That's what makes you memorable. And that's what makes people be like, yeah, I identify with that, or no, I don't. Yes. With that comes with a lot of opinions from others, and sometimes it's like opinions you don't want. And that's oftentimes the reason why people don't do it, is because they want to avoid the pain of being disliked. The problem is, if you can't make someone dislike you, you can't make someone love you either. We can be an in-between tattooer. And I'm not saying that you can't make it big by just being neutral about everything. But at the same time, I'm also really, really in the mindset knowing that the changes that are happening in 2024, we're diving deeper into this because of the fact that we have a lot more people in the industry, a lot more really amazing people in the industry. And in some countries, you can't even become a tattoo artist without having first an art degree. So we're talking about really fucking technically amazing tattooers who basically share their values in the tattoo. You don't even need them to speak. But even then, it's getting harder for them as well. We have amazing, amazing tattooers that don't know how to market themselves. They know how to they know how to take really great pictures of their tattoos, but unfortunately, that's not converting as high as it used to because there's a lot of really amazing people that know how to take good pictures of their tattoos. So what makes you an identifiable brand is you. And it's the you that's unapologetic. It's the you that is fully expressed. It's the you that's in your truth. And it's not the you that wants to copy others. It's not the you that's like, well, if they did this and it worked for them, I'm going to try it. It's not the you that's like, well, this seems like a likable trait, so why don't I try on that likable trait? No, I'm talking about the full, authentic version of yourself and owning that. That's why I truly believe spiritual and mental health, healing, and vitality is so important to your brand, because we are in an age where there's so many robots, more and more and more and more and more and more robots, where people are looking for more human connection than ever. That's why 2024 IG marketing for tattoo artists is changing and shifting so much. So if you aren't already doing this, start. If you are doing this, start to begin to dive deeper for yourself. Because the more that you do, the more you become the brand that people want to identify with. They're like, I proudly wear this. I proudly wear this first piece of art, first year piece, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, 15th year piece of art from this person because of what they identify with. Not only because their artwork is really fucking good, but also who they are. And we totally devalue and negate that very beautiful aspect. We're talking about, you guys, like, I'm spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in education and going into these marketing guru classes, and they're talking about this as the way that, like, Mac, Apple, Nike, Adidas, fuck my life, Kroger, all of these people pay tons of money to become an identifiable brand. And you know what? This is the thing they talk about. So I'm not just talking out of my asshole here. I'm like telling you exactly what these huge brands pay hundreds and thousands, even millions of dollars to do. Think of Barbie. They want to be an identifiable brand. You're going to think you're going to see a pink, and that's Barbie pink. And then when I think of Barbie, I think of like the best fit doll. You know, blonde, da 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 da. Do I want to identify with that Some people love that shit, and they do. So we're this kind of stuff, you guys, is really, really powerful marketing strategies and techniques that we're talking about here. So I don't want you to like let this roll over you and be like, yeah, let's be authentic. Like, do you even know what authenticity means? I think that word is so played out. We hear it and it just like rolls over our head. Do we even understand how to be fully expressed in our truth? Do we even understand how to be genuine? Or are we being bombarded by so much technology and things flashing in our eyes that we don't even know ourselves well enough to know who we are to even share that shit? So it starts inner first, and then we share it outer. Love you guys. Hope you loved this episode. Please let me know if you do. I love to send you gifts. I love it. I love sending my favorite books. Hop on my mailing list. Get some free resources. We got free meditations. We got free chakra guides for business, like how you utilize the chakra system, or chakra system, however you want to say it, in terms of your business and how we heal. That's also in the show notes. You can also get my booked out free resource, downloadable, also in the show notes. We'll send it, peeps. Get in there. So many free places to plug in and play. Of course, there's other things that you could do, but if that's where you want to start there. I love you guys, and have a great rest of your motherfucking day.